All right, thank you all for tuning in to WGHC 98.3 FM, your voice, your music, your station. My name is Jeff Badu, and I'm a licensed certified public accountant in the state of Illinois. I'm the owner and practitioner of my firm, Badu Tax Services, and we specialize in tax preparation, tax planning, and tax representation for individuals and businesses. So today, first of all, welcome to the segment Money Talks. Basically, this is a show for you to gain some financial knowledge, some financial literacy, and things of that sort. So today's topic is really on the top 5 reasons why I believe you should become a business owner, or you should at least own a business. But before that, I would definitely like to kick it off with a market report. And this report is as of July 28th of 2017, so as of last week. So basically what happened is that all the benchmark indexes, out of all of them, only the Dow Jones and the Global Dow posted gains. The remaining indexes basically posted very small losses despite a rise in energy prices, or a rise in energy stocks following Saudi Arabia's promise to cut back oil production. Technology shares fell, which hampered both the NASDAQ and S&P 500. And quarterly earnings reports from large U.S. companies contributed to the Dow's gains last week. Also, the Federal Reserve held interest rates at its current levels. There is expected to be one more boost at the end of this year in December. And essentially, it reveals the Federal Reserve's intention to reduce its holdings of mortgage-backed securities and treasuries relatively soon, which can also push long-term interest rates higher. And then the price of crude oil went up from $45.60 per barrel to $49.79, and then the price of gold went up from $12.61.10 to $12.75.60. So overall, the market didn't do too well, but then again, there wasn't much that changed. Dow Jones is up over 10% so far this year. NASDAQ is up 18%. S&P 500 is up 10%. And Russell 2000 is up 5.31%. Global Dow is up 12.71%. So overall, the markets in general are doing pretty good. So today's segment is really on the top 5 reasons on why I believe you should become a business owner, or you should have a business of some sort. So in my opinion, there's never been a better time to own a business. There's just so much information out there, and we essentially live in an information age where things are becoming so easily accessible. It's so much easier to become a business owner now than it is back then, due to the significant, tremendous amount of resources that are available to us. And the key to all of this, the key to owning a business, or the key to becoming a successful business owner, is to think big. You have to think of your company as bigger than what you are. You have to think bigger than your biggest competitor. If you're in the electronics industry, maybe you came out with a phone or whatever it is, you have to think bigger than Apple. You have to think bigger than Samsung. If you're coming out with a new burger, you have to think bigger than McDonald's. And that's what it's all about, really, is that you absolutely have to think big whenever you start a business, because that way it's always going to push you forward. It's always going to put your best foot forward, essentially. And I will tell you one thing: it's not easy being an entrepreneur. Every day you wake up, or some days you wake up, there's a sense of fear. There's a frightening feeling that it's like you have to go out and go get it. And I truly use that as motivation, really, whenever I wake up. Being an entrepreneur is that there's so much fear that goes on, so much pressure, because everything you do, you have to create it out on your own. So it's your business, it's your baby. You have to go out and go get it, really. And I use that as motivation every morning. I never want to be broke. I never want to lose my business. I never want to go bankrupt or any of those crazy things. So I always work hard, and I use that fear as motivation. With the right mindset and resources, you can definitely become a successful entrepreneur. It's not easy, but it's also something that's not impossible. So in order to become a successful entrepreneur, in order to do anything successful in life, really, is all about the mindset. You have to have a wealth builder's mindset. You have to have a mindset of somebody who wants to be successful. So here are my top 5 reasons. The first one being freedom. So you, as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, you have the freedom really to work whenever you want and wherever you want. Since we live in a technology age, the information age, it's so easy to start a business from home. As a matter of fact, I would say that most businesses are ran pretty much from home nowadays. Especially if you're in the service business, you can easily run your business from home. Whether you have an online retail shop, whether you're doing taxes, or whether you're doing anything really, you can truly run a successful business straight from your home. I mean, there are people making millions of dollars right now just behind their computer, or sometimes even behind their smartphones. And so the physical aspect or the location aspect is no longer a setback. You don't need some big fancy office, some big corporate headquarters. You can literally run a successful business from your home. So if you ever thought that this was a restriction, maybe this is where you want to start. Now you want to make sure that you at least build some sort of office environment. You don't want to be doing this from, let's say, your living room, or maybe from somewhere where it's loud, where you can't concentrate. You definitely want it to be from somewhere where you can actually focus and run your business. And so, along with freedom, is that you can really create your own agenda. You're not really obligated to report to anyone. This is your business. This is your show. You run the show. You set your own schedule. You do whatever you want, essentially. And then, you ultimately, you really don't have to report to anyone. I mean, if you're in the service business, you might have to report to your clients. But ultimately, you ultimately don't have to report to anyone. There is no boss, if that makes sense. And then it allows you to be innovative. So I'll be talking about this more later on. But as an entrepreneur, you create your own. Everything you do is really what it's a product of you. It's what you're doing. You're creating. You're the one that's putting out, the business plans. You're the one that's putting out the pitches and things like that. So you run the show. And that's what I like about being an entrepreneur, is that you get to control the stage. It's yours. And then it's really the ability to do what you love doing. And I'll talk about that more further. But ultimately, you started a business for a reason. Maybe it's because you were tired of working for somebody, or maybe it's something you really wanted to do. So now it's an opportunity to go out and go get it. Now, I would tell you, if you're not someone that's a go-getter, if you're not someone that's willing to risk things, then you probably won't be a successful entrepreneur, because it takes a lot of risk. I mean, you're giving up a lot of guarantees. Let's say you're trading guarantees for freedom, the ability to do whatever you want. You're trading that for guaranteed income. You're trading that for a lot of different things. But that's one part. So my top reason really is the freedom. I love the freedom aspect, to be able to wake up, do whatever I want. I can wake up at any time of the day now. I still wake up at 7 a.m. every day. But at the same time, as an entrepreneur, especially one that's created multiple streams of income, I mean, let's say you have 5, 10 streams of income, you can truly wake up whenever you want. And that's really what I like. I really like that freedom of being spontaneous and doing whatever you want. And then the next thing is really huge, and this is the tax benefits. So as a business owner or as an entrepreneur, you basically you're unlimited to what you can deduct. So these are things like ordinary business expenses, meals and entertainment, travel to clients, automobile expenses, health insurance, retirement contributions, which is much higher for business owners. That's one of the biggest myths out there, is that people have to work in order to save for retirement. As a matter of fact, you have more opportunities, or you have a greater opportunity to save for retirement when you're a business owner, because they have certain plans that you can take advantage of. Remember, now you own the actual business. So imagine if you're working for a company and that they were contributing to your 401k. Well, now imagine you owning that company and you're contributing to your own 401k or IRA or anything like that. So that's one of the biggest things. There's even one out there known as the SEP IRA, where you can contribute up to $54,000 a year, which is an account that I personally have and I take advantage of. So it's huge. I mean, the tax code is truly in the favor of business owners and entrepreneurs. Now, the number one group that tax is definitely in favor of, or the tax code is in favor of, is an investor. And remember, you can be a business owner and an investor. So for me personally, I'm both a business owner and an investor. And so I essentially gain all the benefits of the tax code. And then really, so the next part, so I've talked about the tax benefits, I've talked about the freedom. The next thing is really the ability to make an impact and live out your passion or dreams. And the reason why you started this business is because you probably cared about something, you've seen a need to do something. You probably always wanted to own a business, you didn't like your job, you didn't want to be treated wrong, or you didn't, I don't know, maybe you just hated your life. I mean, me personally, I was pretty miserable before becoming an entrepreneur. I was working a full-time job. It wasn't a 9-to-5, it was more like an 8-to-7. I was getting paid pretty decent, but at the end of the day, I figured that I need to create my own. I need to do things. I need to go out and do things on my own, basically, because I already had a business plan. I already had a business that I was building. And so I wanted to continue upon that, and I didn't want to necessarily build somebody else's dream. Instead, I decided to pursue my own dreams. And to this day, I own 8 different businesses, with my tax firm being the number one, which will always be the number one. So really the ability to live out your dreams, the ability to do whatever it is that you want. I mean, I really love the spontaneous nature. Now whenever I'm with a client, I'm helping somebody, it makes me feel good. It makes it that much more, enjoyable. It just makes it so refreshing that I'm able to create my own, instead of having to rely on somebody creating it for me, and then be able to do business in order to actually make a real life impact in people's lives. Some of my clients, they save, tens and thousands of dollars just by working with me. And they only pay a few pennies on the dollar. So at the end of the day, it's truly an impactful way to live and becoming an entrepreneur. Because everything you do is purposeful now. You don't have time to waste. You don't have time to be on Facebook all day, sit behind on a computer desk on somebody else's time. Now this time is actually, it truly matters. And it means that you have to go out and create. For every time you waste time, being on Facebook, not doing anything good, you're taking away from your business, away from your cash flow, especially if you only work for money. So let's say you're an entrepreneur that, your income relies on you actually being there, which I definitely stay away from. A few of my businesses require me to be there. Most of the time, which I'm slowly transitioning out of that phase. But if you have a business that relies on you heavily, and you're doing these things like being on Facebook all day, sleeping in bed too long, you're taking away from growing your business. And so I encourage you, if you start a business, that you should always continuously grow it, because it's yours, it's your baby, especially if you rely on that as your sole source of income, which I never recommend. And then you can also work. So as you're living this dream, you're actually building the dream too. Remember, as an entrepreneur, you have to think big. You have to think bigger than your biggest competitor. So everything you do should be focused on growth. Everything you should be a growth-minded individual. You have to see your company way bigger than what it is. And so for me, I always aim to grow my company. Different things that I can implement, different people that I can bring into the business. For me, I've brought in a lot of virtual assistants, helping out with some administrative tasks. The expanded use of my mobile app, where clients can easily go in, type in their tax info, and it comes to me. I plug it into my software, and then boom, their taxes can be done right on the spot. And so just little things like that, just always be growth-minded. I plan to become one of the largest tax firms in the nation. And so I have to do things that are greater than what my competitors are doing. And, I can tell you that I see myself as being bigger than my biggest competitor. And so really that's what it's all about. Seeing yourself as is something much bigger. You know, you're creating this thing. You're the quarterback of the team, so you actually run the show. So you have to make sure that it counts. You have to make sure that you're always growing and you're not stagnant. That's one of the things that puts people out of business so quick, is because they become too stagnant. They become too, just too complacent. You can't become complacent. Life moves fast, especially in America. So you definitely have to keep going, and you have to keep moving, keep developing. And I just think you live a more meaningful lifestyle, as an entrepreneur, because everything you do is all focused on growth. It's all, you're the creator. So you're the one that's in the driver's seat. You're the one that's controlling the show. So I think it becomes more meaningful when you're the one running the show versus somebody that's taking a back seat. You're the one that's actually driving. People rely on you much more now. And so it's upon you really to create that meaningful lifestyle and everything like that. And true entrepreneurs really build a business to help solve a problem in this world. I built my tax business because I just felt that people weren't getting the service that they needed. It wasn't quick enough, or it wasn't personable enough. And so I came about and said, hey, let's create this company that's really focused on millennials, and really let's just take this thing on the road. And so I implemented the mobile app, very quick service, clients in 24 states right now. Over 90% of my work is done virtually. I just wanted something that people can have a personal touch, but at the same time, get it done the right way. And you're working with a CPA as well, somebody who actually knows what they're doing. And so I wanted to be the all-in-one package to my clients. And I wanted to be somebody who people can reach out to me for whatever it is. And so even though I'm taking a step back in my company as far as doing the work, I'm still always going to be the leader of the company. And I'm still always going to be attentive to my clients. So that's always something. That's another thing that being an entrepreneur allows you to do, is that it allows you to be unique, or it allows you to have your own personal brand, your own creative side of things. So you're the creator. You put out your brand, you put out your image every time you go out to do a pitch in front of clients, in front of prospects, in front of referral partners, any investors. You're the one, they're relying on you. They see you as the face of the company. And so even though my company is much bigger than I am, I'm still the face of it. So that's really what I seen. I seen a problem in the world. I seen a problem in society. And so I went ahead and created this company. And then also, I wanted a company that was educational, that provides people with actual education that's meaningful and on a recurring basis. And so what I do is I send out newsletters. I send out different articles. I send out different, just quick tips. I'm always on Facebook writing about different ways to save money or ways to invest your money. So I wanted to become an educational company as well. Not just a company that you can come to for your taxes, but really a one-stop shop for all your financial needs. If I can't do it, I at least know somebody else that can do it better. So just little things like that. When you're building a company, it's really yours. It's your baby. So you have to always be growth minded. And then another top 5, or another reason why I really like being an entrepreneur, is really you have unlimited potential. And this can relate to earnings, unlimited just growth opportunities. So your business can really be as big as you want it to be. I mean, when Steve Jobs was in his garage, or when the Bill Gates was in his garage. All these people started in their garages, by the way. When they were in their garage doing what it is that they're doing, they probably didn't see their business as being humongous. It became over time, as they kept growing, they were like, okay, this thing can really take off. And now look at Apple, the most valuable company in the world based on market cap, the richest company in the world based on cash. So at the end of the day, your business can be as big as you want it to be. And like I said, I want my company to become one of the largest tax firms in the world, really, and still providing that excellent customer service, or that excellent advice that people can really count on throughout the year, not just during tax season. This is a year-long relationship, basically. And so I want it to be that that company that people can really go to for all their financial needs, especially on the tax side. And then your earnings potential are truly unlimited. I mean, you're not restrained by salary, some benefits and things like that. You can pay yourself however much you want, assuming let's say you're the only owner, or let's say you have like a small group of friends, investors and things like that. I mean, whatever's decided, you can really pay yourself. So there is no limit to how much money your company can make. You're the one that sets the limit. There is no limit to really how much revenue you can bring in. I mean, it all depends on how much you're advertising, how good you are, how much manpower you have. So truly, I mean, look at Apple and things like that. They have a lot of employees, they have a lot of products, but they don't set a cap on how much money they can make. And so that's another thing I like being an entrepreneur, is that your salary it's not like you're going to make $50,000 in 1 year. You can make $100,000, $200,000, $1 million. That can come at any given point. It really depends on you, on how much you want to work and how fast you want to grow. So I really like that aspect of being an entrepreneur, in that there is no limit. Your upside is unlimited versus being an employee or maybe somebody with a salary, where you're a bit limited. When you're a business owner, where you own a business, there is no limits. Now, on the downside is that there is unlimited downside risk as well. But luckily, if you form your business the right way, in the form of an LLC, having the right protection, asset protection in order, having the right insurance in place, you can actually limit your losses to zero. So at the end of the day, you have unlimited potential. So you have unlimited upside but limited downside. That's the best type of investment, or that's the best type of business out there, when there's unlimited gains and limited losses. That is the absolute best type of investment you can ever have in life. And so that's another reason why I like being an entrepreneur. And then another thing you can do is you can leverage other people's time and other people's money. Now, this is one of my favorite parts about becoming an entrepreneur, or being an entrepreneur, is that really you can truly leverage. You no longer have to trade time for money. So let's say you don't want to handle a certain task, you can actually pass it off to somebody else. Or maybe you don't have enough money to run the business. Well, you can raise some funds. It might be difficult. These things aren't easy, by the way. It might be difficult, but at the same time, it's like you control the show. So at the end of the day, you can always bring in people to handle certain things. That's why I brought in virtual assistants to handle administrative tasks. Now, to tell you the truth, I don't have any employees. I have 0 employees in my company. I have independent contractors. I have virtual assistants. I have referral partners. I have clients. I have somebody who does banking, who does all those different things. But at the end of the day, I don't have any employees. I don't have anybody physically sitting in my office right now just collecting dust. That's another thing nowadays, is that you don't necessarily have to have employees in your business. A lot of people are moving to the independent contractor model, and I even see corporations doing this, where they're not necessarily going to guarantee you a salary, but they're going to pay you commissions, and they're going to force you to have a 1099. And so that way you're labeled as an independent contractor. Now they're not as liable as they used to be for you. And so that's really, those are some of the things that I like, is that you control the show. You get to be spontaneous. You get to do whatever it is that you want, really. And then you can pay yourself any salary that it is that you desire. You have no limits whatsoever. And now my last reason, last, final, but certainly not least, is really the ability to create on your own. So this relates back to the freedom aspect. But remember, this is your company. This is your business. You can create your own vision, your own mission. You can build a team. You can put your business plan to work, and always make sure you're revising it over time, because I was told that a business that remains the same 2 years from now is not going to be successful. And so ultimately, you run the show. You can create your own system. I mean, there's nothing better than a business that has a nice system in place where the owner doesn't have to be there. To be honest, I haven't gotten to that level yet, but I'm still working on it. And then if something doesn't work, or if you don't like something, just end it. Just discontinue it. Just roll off of it. So really, those are my top 5 reasons of becoming an entrepreneur, becoming a business owner. Is that you have the freedom to do whatever it is that you want to do. You have the tax benefits. You have the ability to make an impact and live out your dreams. You have unlimited potential. And you have the ability to create whatever it is that you want. It's your business. If you want to work 1 day a week, you can do that. If you want to work from Ghana, you can do that. Some days when I was in Ghana, I was actually working on my company. And so you can actually do these things. These are all great things that you're more than welcome to do. And as I said before, being an entrepreneur is not easy, but it comes with some very rewarding benefits. The amount of freedom that you have is truly priceless. I wouldn't trade it for any amount of money in the world. I wouldn't trade it for a guaranteed salary. I wouldn't trade it for benefits. I wouldn't trade it for, a pension. I wouldn't trade it for a 401k. The amount of freedom that I have now is absolutely priceless. I mean, when I was at the company that I was with, it was some Sundays that I had to work, which for me, it's actually a sin for me to work on Sundays because, I live by the Bible, basically. Labor 6 days, use 1 day as rest. And I truly believe in that. And so some days, I couldn't even go to church. I had to go to Wisconsin sometimes. I had to go to Indiana. Those long trips on the road, I just didn't like it. I didn't feel like I had the freedom. I felt like I was strapped to something. Like I couldn't control it. And it's not like I could say, oh, no, And so at the end of the day, as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, you have the opportunity to create whatever it is that you want. And so that's what I really like, is that the freedom itself. I mean, I put that as my number one reason to becoming an entrepreneur, is the freedom. And I encourage everyone to start at least one business. It can be something very small. Something as small as selling lemonade or selling CDs or something. As you start becoming more comfortable, or as you start continuously running your business, you're going to start learning some things that work and some things that don't work. For me, I started my first business, I believe it was freshman year of high school. Well, actually, no, it was before that. So I was selling things on eBay. Or Craigslist, I'm sorry. I was selling like iPods and iPhones and things like that. I was selling things on eBay, and as I was selling more and more things, I started learning really the importance of customer service, being on time, making sure you count the money, just making sure, just these very simple fundamental business principles. And then I went ahead and owned a retail company with a friend, and then I also started a side tax company. And so overall, there's really a lot of benefits to becoming a business owner. The freedom that you have is absolutely priceless. And like I said before, I encourage everyone to at least start one business throughout your lifetime. So thank you all for tuning in to WGHC 98.3 FM, your voice, your music, your station. My name is Jeff Badu, and I look forward to continuously bringing you all knowledge on these financial topics. Thank you.